Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and it is time for that Sunday night live stream show. That's right, it is Sunday night, July 16th. It's my little sister Savannah's birthday. Shout out to her. It's my daughter's birthday Friday, and it's going to be a good show tonight. Hopefully you're excited for a good time and a great opportunity to learn more, win some free stuff, and talk about fishing. Inshore, near shore, and offshore. If you have questions, make sure you shoot them to us. Make sure you submit your questions. You can submit those by texting us at the phone number at the bottom of the screen. So make sure you send in your questions. Make sure you comment at least one time in order to be eligible to win. Let us know where you're watching from. Give the video a like for us. Share the stream for us as well. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to like us on TikTok, Instagram. Don't forget to follow us on Trovo, Twitch, and also Facebook. So, hopefully everybody's ready for a good show. Don't forget our friends over there at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. If you haven't checked them out already, make sure you do so. Stop by and tell them your friends at Hubbard's Marina sent you. 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete, Gator Jim's Tackle. Crazy deals, awesome selection. You don't want to miss out on an opportunity to go over and visit our friends at Gator Jim's Tackle. Also, want to make sure we give a shout out to our supporters out there, our big supporters club. We appreciate you all for making everything possible and making the world go round live show wise. So appreciate all the supporters for making this all possible, and appreciate all those send-in stars too. We've had a lot of stars already. Starting up tonight, we had Larry White with the big 500 to pop us off right. We had Stephen Batchelor, Ashley Pettit with the big 560. James McCullum with the big 500. Appreciate you, man. LaShonda, how are you tonight? Jim Evans, Keith White, Todd Stutzman, and Ryan Kelly, and then of course our friend Jeff Reedy with a big 1,200 stars. Appreciate you guys all very, very much. The star senders, the supporters, for helping to fuel our live stream show and really help us to bring you guys something special every Sunday night. So thank you very much. Want to make sure we explain how to win some free trips. You want a chance to win some free stuff? This is the way you do it. You comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. So pop on over to Facebook. Make sure you find the Hubbard's Marina page. Give it a like. Find the live video. You'll see it. It'll be prominent and it'll be red. It'll show you that you're live. Make sure you comment at least one time, anything you want. Then don't forget to like it and don't forget to share it with your friends. That's how you're eligible to win one of those free trips. So make sure you like, comment, and share for us, but you do only have to comment technically. But if you want to like it and share it too, we'd appreciate it. All right, so with that, we are going to get rolling into the show. We always like to start the show by showing you what we're catching now. Then we get into the weather a little bit, talk about what's going on weather-wise. Then we get into your questions. Remember, if you have a question you want answered live during the show, phone number at the bottom of the screen is how you get them answered. So if you comment, we appreciate it. But if you comment with a question, most likely we're not going to see it, because it goes by really fast. We're streaming live to TikTok, to Instagram, to Trovo, to Twitch, to YouTube, to Facebook. So 5 different social media platforms. So the comments go really, really quickly. It's hard for us to keep track. So make sure if you have a question you want to answer live, text us at the phone number at the bottom of the screen. So with that, let's get rolling into some photos, show you guys what we are catching right now. Starting off with our buddy Luke Simons over there at Salt Strong. Simons like diamonds. Don't forget it. Luke over here actually joined us as our co-host for our Saturday morning radio show. It was a really, really cool show. We talked a lot about Salt Strong, and Luke shared a bunch of insider tips and tricks. It was a really, really, really great show. So check it out if you haven't caught it already. Make sure you catch our Saturday morning Real Animals radio show. You can actually always go back and watch the Saturday morning radio show or the Sunday night live stream show if you missed it live, you can always go back on our timeline and watch it later on, and go back and watch it in the past. So if you miss it live, don't worry, you can always catch it later. So I would recommend watching that radio show from Saturday morning if you didn't watch it already. But as I was saying, our buddy over here, look at Luke with this nice big old flounder. You don't have to hide those comments. That's kind of funny. Someone wants to come in and comment negativity in the comment thread. Just let them do it. That's hilarious. So Luke is catching some nice flounder out there in the inshore waters. He's actually catching them bouncing artificial lures on the bottom. So our friend Luke Simons at Salt Strong, is fishing with a jig head with his Power Prawn soft plastic, bouncing that along the sandy bottoms around some near shore artificial reefs, catching a lot of flounder and cobia too. And he actually has some videos coming out on that very shortly. He's going to be posting to his YouTube channel, and then some more detailed information to the Salt Strong Insider group. Looking forward to seeing the detailed insider video, because basically what Luke's doing is he's applying his inshore tactics with those soft plastics and those jig heads to nearshore style fishing. Basically, he's slow pitch jig fishing with a spinning rod and reel. And kind of, it's a unique crossover between inshore and offshore fishing. People have done what he's doing, but he's doing it in a really unique way. So I'm excited to see how they portray that in their videos and how Luke really explains it. So definitely stay tuned to that. You don't want to miss out. I'm excited for it personally, because it's going to be cool how Salt Strong will portray it. As you can see, he's also catching a few snapper, and I messed up my fan. And he's also catching some cobia out there, again, bouncing that Power Prawn soft plastic along the bottom at some near shore, along the beach, hard bottom areas and little reefs. So pretty cool stuff coming from Salt Strong, so stay tuned for that. Also, the redfish bite's been going pretty good in the backwaters. We're seeing some of those redfish in the back bays. Really, the mangrove shorelines is a great place to look for those redfish. They're hiding for the shade. So another cool thing that Luke was talking about on the Saturday morning radio show was in the early morning, he's trying to get out there really, really early to set up on the flats before the sun rises and fish through the sunrise in those shallow grass flat areas and oyster bars, and take advantage of long casts with the top water baits, and really just bombing grass flats, trying to find the fish and get on them as quick as possible in the early morning. Then around 8, 9 o'clock, once that sun starts to get up, he's fishing kind of the edges, the potholes, and then as the sun really starts to get up, he's moving into deeper water and bouncing those baits along the bottom and looking for shade in the back bays. So early morning flats, around sun or just after sunrise, fishing the edges, fishing those areas where those fish are falling off the flats, heading to deeper water, and then once the sun is up, fishing deeper water or fishing the shadows, so, or the shade, if you will. So that's kind of the insider tips to the inshore game that Luke Simons was sharing with us Saturday morning. And he alliterated that a little bit more on the radio show, so check it out. The redfish bite's been going pretty good, as I said, and then big snook, baby. Big snook on the passes, around the passes, and along our near shore artificial reefs. So some really big snook action going well along the beaches. This is Luke fishing those soft plastics on those near shore artificial reefs. Our friend Scott Sadorf's got some big snook along the beaches too. And then of course plenty of other Salt Strong members out there hunting the snook early to mid-morning along our beautiful beaches. So snook bite going well. They're stacked up in the pass, but most of the ones we see up in the water column around the pass, 25 to 35 inches. No real big ones. A lot of kind of schooly snook. The big girls are hanging out there on the beaches, in the deep water in the passes, or along those artificial reefs and wrecks near shore. Here's a big one from our friend Scott Sadorf, Angler 360 Dogfish Tackle. You can find Scott hanging out one of these days. Definitely a good guy to chat with if you run into him. We're We're seeing a lot of the trout along our passes. Right now with the new moon, I'd be fishing the nighttime bite around local bridges, dock lights. New moon means we don't have a lot of moonlight, no moonlight really, and no moonlight concentrates the bait around those artificial light sources, so you can see the street lights behind. That's what's going to concentrate the bait and thus concentrate the trout and snook and redfish. So really good opportunity on this new moon to take advantage of those artificial light sources, dock lights, bridge lights, areas like that that are going to concentrate the bait, concentrate the actively feeding fish. New moon also means more moving water, which gives those fish a little bit more reprieve, a little bit more escape from that warmer water. So some really good opportunities there. So I would strongly recommend hitting those dock lights, bridge lights at night. And then during the day, early morning, fishing the flats. Mid-morning, fishing those passes, those cuts. During midday, getting deeper or fishing under the shade. That's what we're doing inshore right now. Let's work our way near shore and offshore and show you what's going on out there. Near shore right now, you got a chance for these hogfish. We're actually seeing a few hogfish still, but bite is real slow on the hogfish. Not seeing a ton of them. Definitely a little tougher with the warmer waters. So we are finding a few hogfish, but not a lot of them. Some nice big old porgies offshore, some big vermilions, Almaco jacks, yellowtails. We're finding a few fat red grouper near shore. Mostly on our private charters is going to be your best bet for a near shore red grouper. The 10-hour, not seeing a lot of red grouper, mostly lane snapper, a few mangroves, a chance for hogfish. A lot of heads and tails on those 10-hour all days, 5-hour half days, mostly gray snapper or white grunts, porgies, and the occasional sea bass or hogfish. Offshore, doing pretty good on the red grouper, red snapper, and catching a few yellowtails, some mutton. So the offshore bite's going okay, but we are really challenged this past week with some strong currents. If you watched the video this morning, we kind of went over how it's been a little bit tougher this past week offshore and deeper water for us just because we're dealing with more current and really struggling to get out there to that 200, 220, 240 foot, 180 foot area where we're seeing a lot of those red snapper. It's currents making it tough to get past 160, 180, which means we're hunting and pecking, moving around a lot more, and just haven't really seen a sold out bite. But we sent out a private charter today with some family friends. The Jimmy family are out there with Captain Garrett, and they only got 17 people, so that's going to enable us to fish a little deeper, even if the current's bad, because we're going to be able to stack up people and strategically fish a little bit better. So Garrett's going to kind of be on a hunting mission to try to find an area where we can get past the current and find an area where hopefully we can catch a lot of fish and not deal with heavy current. So we are on a scouting mission now to hopefully destroy some nice fish, and then we'll be back at it catching a bunch midweek on the 39 hours. Some big red grouper near shore on the hub, moving into some nice red snapper from the Flying Hub 2. The Flying Hub 2's been doing pretty well out there. A lot of hunting and pecking, a lot of working for it with the way the weather and current has been. Hopefully we're going to get back out and get after it there offshore once the current dies down. We have a beautiful week of weather. We're going to talk a little bit more about the weather now. This is actually a photo from our commercial seafood market down there at Don's Dock. These were not fish we caught. These were caught on commercial fishing trips, commercial spear fishing trips to be exact. Don't forget about the seafood market. If you're too busy to go fishing, you can stop by John's Pass and buy your own fish at Don's Dock. So those are all commercially caught and retailed in our seafood market at the east end of the boardwalk. We are catching a handful of pelagics, some kingfish, some blackfin tuna. You have a chance for some wahoo, but mostly we're seeing those grouper, snapper, and others, heads and tails, if you will. So some good opportunities out there on the water, whether you're fishing with us or stopping by Don's Dock and picking up some fresh seafood, fresh caught seafood. So with that, we're going to get into some giveaways. Don't forget, we got our 5-hour half day, our 10-hour all day for 2, our 5-hour half day for 2, our Hubbard's Marina swag pack, and that 39-hour fishing trip to give away tonight for one lucky winner as well. So lots of free stuff to give away tonight for that live stream show. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the show so far. Remember, we got to talk about weather, some announcements, then we're going to get into your questions. If you do have a question, make sure you text it to the phone number at the bottom of the screen. So first things first, let's give away a free trip. Let's do our 5-hour half day for 2 guests. 5-hour half day for 2 guests. Lucky winner is Barb Jones from Southern Illinois. Congratulations, Barb Jones. You got 5 minutes or less to claim that free trip. Make sure you text us at the phone number at the bottom of the screen in order to have a chance to claim that free trip. Remember, you have to claim it within 5 minutes to prove you're watching live. So make sure you text us quickly to prove you're watching live. I want to give a shout out to some star senders. We had Crystal Kraft, Craig Robinson, Estelle Wolfman. What's going on, Estelle? Don Shewitt, Phil Batisto, and then a big 800 from our friend Adam Franklin. Appreciate you, Adam. So with that, let's get into some weather. Show you guys what's going on weather-wise. So weather-wise, if you pop on over to our website, hubbardsmarina.com, click fishing trips, scroll down to the weather links page, you can find all the links we use ourselves to check the weather. We're going to look at the 5 and 10 hour forecast area on Windfinder, and you can see here a nice week of moderate winds yet again. Rain chances are going up. We do have that high pressure receding and the rain chances settling in. So getting into that summertime pattern, baby. A lot of scattered rain throughout the week. So some overcast conditions, some rain sprinkled here and there, but for the most part, really moderate week of wind and weather so far in the forecast. So gonna be hot, gonna be scattered showers, and gonna be the chance to run into some of those summertime storms, but for the most part, really looking nice for the upcoming week, especially around this new moon. The bite should be going pretty good during the day. First half of the work week looking real nice all the way through, really the whole work week looking really good and fishy. So we're going to pop back over and look at our long range offshore forecast. Same thing. Looking really nice there, kind of midweekish. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, looking real nice. A little bit more moderate into the weekend with around 15-mile-an-hour winds. Nothing crazy. Sea heights all less than 2 foot. So really, really nice conditions. Might get a little bit more of a breeze there. It looks like Monday and Saturday. It looks like the chance for a breeze or forecast for a breeze is a little higher around Monday and then again on Saturday. Besides that, really calm, really steamy, and the chance for rain is going to be around for sure. Let's move over to our Mike's Weather Page update from our friend over there, Mike Boylan at Mike's Weather Page. So today's prog chart, let's see what's going on today. We got that high pressure still around. We got a lot of humidity and kind of a unhappy upper atmosphere at this point. This is tomorrow, Monday. We got some frontal boundaries kind of hanging around. That's probably why we've got that little increase in wind tomorrow. So there's the correlation. But again, tomorrow's not really windy. I wouldn't call it windy, just a little bit more moderate tomorrow with excuse me, with an increase for a chance of rain. Then we move into Tuesday. Let's see what's going on Tuesday. Frontal boundaries recede. Upper level atmosphere starting to dry out a little bit. We move into Wednesday. What's going on here? That frontal trough hanging out, but we don't see an increase in the wind. So most likely that frontal trough's just going to be floundering. That also tells me potentially we could see some fluctuations in the forecast, but right now looking real nice midweek, but potential for fluctuation. There it is. This is Thursday. Yep, Thursday. That high pressure settles back in and starts to recede Friday. What makes the wind pop up Saturday? There it is. Approaching low pressure to our north is going to cause a pressure ridge. The high pressure escaping, that low pressure pushing down. So that is what's happening to cause the potential for weekend. But really, nothing too much. Nothing to really report weather-wise. Actually, one more thing, Josh, before we get all the way off of weather, let's hop back over to our SpaghettiModels.com website here and just take a peek at tropical tidbits, long-range GFS forecast. Let's go. Region selection. Like looking at this. So, nothing real. There it was. A little bit of a line there. Monday, so that we expected that Monday. So a little bit more of an increase in chance in rain Monday. What was that? Thursday, potentially. A little bit more. What's that? Saturday. Huh. That seems a little sneaky. That's why I always like to look at this, because you never know what's popping off here. So that's Saturday. We saw that increase in chance. What does that number say right there, Josh? 995? A little bit of a tropical disturbance there this upcoming weekend, Saturday, July 29th. But super early. Really not a lot of stock in this, but we can definitely watch this because that could be potentially a little bit more breezy than they're calling for. So that's something to keep an eye on. 995. That's some pretty low millibars. 995. What is that in the Saffir-Simpson scale right here? It's not going to come up, is it? 995 is technically around a tropical storm, borderline Cat 1. So that's interesting. Something to watch out for. But again, that's June 30th. So that is essentially, that's way, way out there. So that's not even what we are looking at. So pay no attention to that. That's July 29th. So that's not what we were looking at earlier. That's 2 weekends from now. That's 14 days out. No one really looks that far in advance, tropical weather-wise. I shouldn't have even shown it that far in advance. Really, not a lot you can put stock in. That's like trading in the futures market, right? 2 weeks out, 14 days out. Not really trustworthy, but something to keep an eye on for the end of the month, potentially. So, something to keep an eye out for sure. All right, so we talked about the weather. We talked a little bit about how to win the trips. We gave away a free 5-hour half day for 2 already. With that, let's get into some questions. Hopefully you guys have some questions for us. Also want to make sure you guys remember we got some cool events coming up. We've got Final Friday coming up July 28th. That's right, Final Friday is already upon us. So if you want some free beer, some free crawfish, and a big thank you from Hubbard's Marina to our community, check us out July 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. for Final Friday. Also August 1st, Tuesday, from 6 to 8 p.m. We're going to be over there at Bartow Ford for our Real Animals fishing conversation. We've got Lisa Fitzgerald, the Hall of Famer, the only Hall of Famer, joining us, talking about fishing inshore and around the beaches. You don't want to miss out on that special seminar. Free food, free drinks, free rods and reels being given away from Bull Bay Rods, some Real Animals swag being given away, some Engel coolers being given away. So check it out, August 1st, 6 to 8 p.m. at Bartow Ford. Then August 5th, from 4 to 7 p.m., Barfly out there in Safety Harbor is a Real Animals happy hour. The Real Animals Catch beer is going to be launched, And it's going to be a good time over there at Barfly and Safety Harbor. That's August 5th from 4 to 7 p.m. Real Animals Happy Hour. So check it out. All right, so first question of the night. What's up? Great show. I fish Indian shores religiously and catch many fish. What happened to the sand fleas? So the sand fleas, it depends on who you ask and why. There's a lot of controversy around the sand flea situation. Some people say red tide. Other people say beach renourishment. Some people just say overall bad water quality. But I would say it has a little bit to do with everything, right? Red tide didn't help. The beach renourishment doesn't help. And the overturning of the beach makes it really difficult for a sand flea population to propagate and proliferate along the beaches. I love those words. But basically, it makes it difficult for them to really get settled into an area. So I would say that's the biggest problem, is kind of a combination of those variables, right? So issues with water quality, issues with constant beach renourishment and sand movement, and then also on top of that, just difficulties with overall water quality. But a bigger problem we face is the potential for some of those local city municipalities. They're actually making a push. I don't know if it's Reddington Shores, Indian Shores. One of those small municipalities is actually making a push to end fishing on their beaches. So we're going to be paying a little bit more attention to that. This week we have the FWC Commission meeting, July 19th and 20th. And then on the back side of that, we're going to get dug in on the whole city municipality trying to put a stop to fishing on the beach. That is not great, and definitely want to make sure we end that and nip it in the bud, because that would be a dangerous precedent to set, and I could see it kind of snowballing and domino affecting down our beaches, and we don't want to see beach fishing being shut down because of a couple city municipalities getting something messed up there. So we're going to be paying close attention to that and working to make you aware of it. We might need your help as well, writing some letters and inundating some city halls. So pay attention to that one. We'll definitely be sharing that on the Captain Dylan Hubbard page, and then also, of course, in our supporters group, talking a little bit more in depth on that. So stay tuned for that important information. So you brought up Indian Shores, and that was a great point. What was the other part of that question, Josh? Best bet between Indian Shores and Johns Pass. Your mic's off, by the way. I would say just go all the way to Johns Pass, really. Unless you're fishing on a bike, one thing you could do is cruise the beach early morning and look for snook in the surf and look for fish. You might find black drum, you might find whiting, you might find pompano, you might find snook. You might even find tarpon cruising the beach. And so riding the beach with a bike, one of those big fat tire bikes or an e-bike in the early morning with a rod on your back, is a good way to kind of spot fish and go hunting for new areas. So that would be one option. Or I would say just go all the way to Johns Pass and fish around the pass, especially at night before sunrise, fishing around the pass, the bridge lights, dock lights, good opportunities there. Then once the daylight gets up, get out there on the beach. What's going on, Capt Mike? How are you, buddy?
How are you, my friend? I'm good.
Yeah, you doing all right?
Yeah, man. Long weekend. Recharge the batteries after ICAST. Ready to go fishing this week. Ready to get back on the water and do my thing.
Recharge the batteries. Weren't you playing softball all weekend?
That's a recharge for me, dude. Doesn't have anything to do with fishing. Just get to go and relax and run around out there like a little kid for a while.
I know how competitive you are, and I really, really highly doubt you are relaxed at any point during a softball tournament.
Dude, it's what I do to recharge the batteries and just get away from work for a little bit for a weekend. So I appreciate you covering for me, Mr. Mahoney, Mr. Marshall, covering for me this morning so I could get away and catch my breath a little bit. And like I said, I'm fired up. I'm ready for the week. Got some really cool reports. Some good stuff happened last week. leading up to this moon, and
what do we
I'm
got
excited.
going on? What are you excited
So,
about most?
listen. You can't tell anyone.
All right.
It's a secret.
Our secret.
Okay.
We're totally
Seriously,
private
you don't want.
conversation
You never.
right now.
Right. You don't want to let this out too early.
Okay.
But triple tail.
Didn't
Lots
literally
of triple tail.
72 hours ago, we were sitting at a table and you were literally complaining about how people ruin triple tail in Tampa Bay because they talk about it so much. If there's triple tail, you got to go catch them quickly.
I didn't tell anyone. I'm only telling you.
We were literally just talking about this.
I just told you. I mean, what do you want from me? I just told you. I'm keeping it. I just want you to know about it. I was just,
all right, it's our secret. I won't tell anybody.
Yeah, it's our secret, right? Don't tell anyone.
It's not like Friday. I'm going to tell everybody at 8:15 a.m.
No one knows but you.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
I don't tell anybody anything.
And here's the deal. If they're here, they're around John's Pass.
Oh, yeah. There's a dock light.
They're around Clearwater.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places that they are.
Uh-oh.
So I'm not telling you where exactly because I know how you are. You talk too much with your whole Fox News fishing report thing. So we're not going to tell you everything you need to know, but I'm going to tell you there's some here. I'll tell you this, which I thought was interesting. A little bit earlier than last year, fired off a little early this year, was the redfish in the trees on the cut pinfish. Fired off this week big time too.
So I've talked to other people, and they are all about the cut ladyfish. I hear some guys that's all about the cut mullet. I hear some guys like yourself, every time I talk to you about it, you're all about the cut pinfish. Is it just like personal preference? Is it area? Because I know the guys up in Ocello, who's that, Mario, he was all about ladyfish. And then I talked to Bobby, he loves mullet. So it seems like almost geographically it kind of changes.
I don't think it has anything to do with geographics. I think it's more to do with what is easier for you to get your hands on wherever you are.
True. All right.
So if you have a mullet guy who can supply you with mullet's a great choice. If you've got an area with some dock lights, some bridge lights where you can slide in and catch, 6 or 8 ladyfish first thing in the morning. Maybe while you're casting for bait, you luck into a few ladyfish. Ladyfish is a great cut bait.
Okay.
But it's almost always on the flat right now. So even while you're catching whitebait to snapper fish or whitebait to snook fish or even live whitebait to redfish with, you're going to end up with some pinfish in your live well off the flat right now.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is cut them up. And so they're readily available. They're easy to use. And remember this about pinfish. The same really with mullet, not so much with ladyfish. Ladyfish is more of a bloody, it's just a bloody, meaty fish that they just come to. But with mullet and pinfish, those are two things they're seeing. If you find a shoreline that's got big redfish on it right now and they're in the trees, they're not in there alone. They're in there with mullet. The mullet are in there doing their work, milling up grass, kicking up the crustaceans so they can feed off of that stuff. And when somebody puts a giant steak in there, a 3-inch, 4-inch cut pinfish or a cut mullet, they are not going to pass that meal up.
So when you
they
say
just won't do it.
A cut pinfish, say you've got a 4-inch long pinfish, are you cutting its head and cutting its tail and using the plug?
I do. Yep. I just use the chunk because I want to. No, I don't butterfly them, but I just cut the head off.
All right.
So you've got belly and guts kind of hanging out of it. It's kind of not pretty.
Okay.
And then I cut the tail off as well because I want scent coming out of both ends. Because it's definitely a scent thing and it's an energy level thing.
Okay.
Okay. If you fish those trees with white bait right now, and that white bait senses that redfish, that white bait goes crazy. It's swimming all over the place. The oxygen levels are low. The redfish don't have that much energy. They don't want to chase nothing.
I got you.
That cheeseburger laying on the bottom so they can just kind of wander over there and just, one big gulp and they've got a full-blown steak or a full-blown, burger in their belly, they're good.
All right.
So that's why cut bait this time of year is so effective. And it'll change. You'll watch it change over the next, 2 months, 2.5 months as we roll into September. Yeah. Water temp just starts to change a little bit. You get a couple of mornings where you come out of the garage and you're like, oh, okay. humidity's dropped down, things are cooling down a little bit. You notice that water temp drop 3 or 4 degrees, then it'll switch back to more of a white bait, big time feed, crushing baits type of deal.
Okay.
But, late July, August, early September, cut bait in the trees. Mullet are going to be the key. If there's no mullet there, I promise you there won't be any redfish there, but you'll definitely catch them.
All right. So we're looking for mullet in the trees, high tide. Then when the water's moving a little bit more towards the passes, fishing the docks for shade?
Oh, the docks are always a good choice.
Okay.
The docks are always a good choice. Here's something else that you should always key in on. Watch your wind direction.
Wait. Is it new moon incoming? Is that what you're going to say?
I'm going to hang up on you. So,
all right, sorry, go ahead.
Here's a nice morsel. It's wind direction.
Okay.
Find shorelines that the wind is blowing onto.
Okay.
Okay? Always fish shorelines that the wind is blowing onto. Redfish are notorious for not liking wind on their back. So they will sit on those shorelines, put their nose into that wind, where that wind is blowing onto that shoreline. I've got docks that are really good on a south wind. I've got a couple of spots that I really, really love on an east-southeast wind. Blows right on these shorelines. If the big mullet are in there, I'd spend a few minutes just outside of it, looking at it real close. I see a couple of big, what I call meat chicken mullet jump, because a little mullet and redfish, they're not friends. They don't hang out together. But big mullet, big old meat chicken mullet, and redfish are going to work a shoreline together, especially one that the wind is blowing on.
So in the wintertime, we're looking for wind-protected shorelines. Summertime, you're looking for windy shorelines that are getting hit with the wind.
Again, you're yes, a little bit, and the reason that is because again, you're talking about water temps dropping.
Okay.
So in a north wind, the north wind is blowing onto a shoreline. You got that cold breeze beating on that shoreline. It takes it longer to heat up.
I got you.
So some of those shorelines that are protected will heat up faster because they don't have that wind beating on them. But yeah, I'm always a wind. Even in the wintertime, I'm still looking at shorelines unless it's a north wind. North is kind of a deal breaker in the wintertime because if we have a big north wind in the wintertime, it means we have a front. Yeah. A front just came through. The water temps are probably down. Wind temps are probably down. That's just not a great scenario for Florida.
I got you.
If your wind's out of the south in the wintertime and you have a big shoreline, that can be pretty productive because you'll get a little warmer blow out of the south. Yeah, it could warm it up with that sun baking on it, 10 a.m., 11 a.m. bite where that sun's had a chance to cook on that south shoreline. Mm-hmm. That can be pretty productive.
All right.
And again, those are all pieces of the puzzle that you just have to put together. One of the big keys to inshore fishing in general is taking a look at the whole puzzle. What's the tide doing? What's the bait situation? What's the water temp? All those things are really, really, really important to what's going on. Keep a fish log. Yeah. I heard a little bit of the Salt Strong thing you did. I heard a little bit. I was on my way to the tournament, and I heard Luke talking about it. And even if you don't, and again, right, I was blown away. I was totally blown away about what they're doing.
That's cool.
But even then, I'm not a subscriber to Salt Strong. Not for any other reason than I'm just dumb and I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
But I have, books of just notes, taking notes on everything from wind direction. My fish log's got all that stuff in it. What was the bait doing on a windy, north wind February day?
So in the beginning of that whole conversation with Luke, I don't know if you caught the beginning of it, but he talked about how he used to keep a file cabinet and all this stuff. I bet you still have a file cabinet.
I don't have a file cabinet, but I've got about 12 notebooks stacked up.
He's got a file cabinet
that have all kinds of information in them. And I've have some that are just bait logs, where I just keep bait information. Yes.
So you're tracking where the bait is through the year.
Tracking where the bait is. Why not? I mean, I'm fishing for a living.
Yeah.
I want to know where the bait's going to be based on different winds and different moons and different times of the year. Sometimes when the bait gets tough, you can go back to your bait log and look and see, man, you know what? I haven't gone to that spot in a long time. I wonder if for some reason it went there. And you end up, cruising over the top of it. You're sitting up in your tower. You're like, there it is. And then here it is. But for some reason it's here now.
There you go.
So, it can be pretty helpful. And that Salt Strong thing, man.
Pretty wild.
That's going to be game changer stuff for sure.
Yeah. So for those of you who missed the Saturday show, like I talked about before, you can always go back and watch it on the Real Animals or the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page. But what Mike's alluding to and what I forgot to mention is Luke actually made an announcement during the show that I don't know if he was supposed to yet, but basically what changed with the Salt Strong community is you can actually upload a photo. And Josh, you'll get a trip out of this because you like technology too. It takes the geotag and the time from the photos metadata, and then it looks at what the current was doing and what the weather was doing and what the moon was doing and all the different weather information, tidal information, and compiles it all into a personal fish log. And on top of that, you can upload historical photos. So if you upload all the photos in your iPhone of you fishing for the last 3 years, it creates a fish log for you. That was the most mind-boggling thing.
The whole thing was mind-boggling to me. It's just so advanced. It's crazy. But you know how untechnical I am. Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah. What's crazy, I mean, so literally someone's sitting there thinking like, man, I wish I would have been keeping a fish log. Literally, you can go in there and upload a bunch of photos, and all of a sudden you have a fish log. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty trick. They're doing a lot of great things over there at Salt Strong, and they're super, super good guys. So, you know,
good people.
It's good stuff they dropped on us there for sure.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate it, man. Good luck in the trees for the redfish, chasing mangrove snapper around the structure, and hitting those triple tail that are not here.
Remember, hold on, right? They're here, but remember what I said.
Just between us.
Don't tell anyone, and make sure you tell Josh. Don't tell anyone, Josh. Be quiet.
Sure. Too late. I've already told everybody.
He tweeted it.
It's already out there.
The three of us, dude. Come on, man. Can't be dropping morsels like that. Can't trust Josh.
These radio people. All right, buddy. I appreciate you, man. I'll see you Saturday.
All right, brother. Looking forward to it. Have a great week, my friend.
All right. August 1st, Bartow Ford with the Hall of Famer herself, Lisa Fitzgerald, and August 5th over there at a Barfly in Safety Harbor. So great opportunities to go hang out with Capt Mike, as we mentioned early. And we'll see you guys Saturday for Capt Mike and I's radio show. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you, man.
All right, partner. Have a great evening. Appreciate you.
See you, man. Oh, man, it is way too hot to be wearing those earphones in this studio. You've got a polo shirt.
And I gave up my fan for you. So.
Yes, I appreciate your fan at my feet that I keep kicking and trying to redirect. The AC is broken in the studio still. Second weekend in a row. We are dying in here, guys. If I'm glistening, it's not makeup. It's just pure sweat. So, appreciate all the stars coming through. Billy and Cherie with some stars. Anthony Barnes, Tanya, Michelle, Phil Battisto, and then, of course, Ashley Pettit with a big 530. Thank you, Ashley. Scott Flynn, what's up, my man? Appreciate all the stars, y'all. So, let's see here. Let's see. Is it time for another giveaway? Okay. He always moves the mouse so angrily. So let's go ahead and give away our Hubbard's Marina swag pack. If you're the lucky winner of the swag pack, don't forget to send us your home address within 5 minutes, but also your t-shirt size so we can send you the free Hubbard's Marina swag pack. So let's see who is going to win a free Hubbard's Marina swag pack. Chuck Clark from Eustis, Florida. Congratulations, my brother. You got 5 minutes or less. Text us your full home address to the phone number on the screen, and then we will send you out that special Hubbard's Marina swag pack. So, let's see. What is the next question? How's the mangrove snapper bite on the 39-hour trips? Last couple trips has been a little bit tough. We've had a little bit of a tougher night bite around that new moon. The new moon is setting up now. New moon means a little to no moonlight at night, which means a little bit of a tougher night bite generally. So we generally try to avoid nighttime fishing on the new moon. I think this last 12-hour night trip that happened this past Friday, fishing was a little bit tough, and I blame myself a little bit. I should have been a little bit more careful planning that one. Probably shouldn't have picked that one for a 12-hour night trip, because we try to avoid those new moons on the 12-hour night trip, because generally nighttime fishing can be a little bit tougher. Daytime fishing a little bit better around the new moons on average. And full moon, the opposite is true. Nighttime fishing's a little better typically. Daytime fishing's a little bit slower typically. Those are kind of rules of thumbs. They can change, like a little bit of cloudy weather, a little bit of overcast condition can change that up. Luke, again, dropping knowledge. I learned a lot this last radio show this past Saturday with Luke. One of the things he was talking about was cloud cover. We've had a really clear, not rainy summer so far. So because of that, we've had really clear nights around the new moon, or around the full moon, which means we've had a lot of moonlight. Those fish have been feeding a little bit more actively. It's made the full moon a little bit slower during the day because they have so much moonlight at night. The new moon, on the flip side of things, has really concentrated even better during the daytime, early morning, right as the sun's coming up, because those fish haven't had a chance to feed. So it was pretty interesting hearing him talk about how the moon phase also connects to how overcast and clear, and or overcast or clear it's been. So pretty interesting. Michael Perro said, what's causing such strong currents? Well, around a new moon and full moon, we typically have more dramatic currents. Offshore, though, we don't have tidal flow offshore. We have currents. So sometimes currents can move in, like, for example, loop current can get pushed closer to the middle grounds and elbow, and when the loop current comes in, it can really screw us up. Those fishing on the East Coast a lot, like down in southeast Florida, they're used to 3 and 4 knot currents. For us on the Gulf Coast, a knot of current is a lot. Anything over a knot is like too much for us Gulf anglers, because we just aren't used to that style of fishing. And it's not really the style of fishing we do. So it's definitely different for us when those currents push in, because we're not used to it. Let's go back to, let's see. So we're going to go to hubbardsmarina.com, and if I hit the right button, we're going to go to fishing trips, and we're going to scroll down to weather links. We're going to scroll down to Mike's weather page. Top right-hand side of our weather links page, we're going to scroll over here to our currents map. So let's see if I can find Florida. Look at that. My geography is tight. So this is it right here. This is probably what's causing our problem. This loop eddy coming off of the loop current, coming up here and hitting Panama City Beach, Destin, coming off of Mexico Beach, and shooting down. This is probably what's scooted a little closer and is kind of overhanging. Let me scoot it a little bit so you can see it. It's a little too close. It's not too close. So you can see here that current is getting a little closer to shore. Normally we have these darker blue areas, a little less current. So this stronger current is just pushed closer to shore. So this has nothing to do with the new moon, full moon, or tides. This is everything to do with this loop current that comes into the Gulf of Mexico and loops down. Normally, we get these little loop eddies, and off our coast, we don't really have a lot of current. That's why Central West Florida is the best area to bottom fish. That's why we're known as the grouper capital of the world, baby, because we have such good bottom fishing. We have the West Florida Shelf. The West Florida Shelf, let me see. Can you Google West Florida Shelf? Or maybe West Florida Escarpment? It's another fancy word for it, but let's go West Florida Shelf. See if we can find a good map. There it is. This will work. Can you blow that one up? If that doesn't blow up for me. That does blow up. All right, perfect. So back to sharing screen. So this is the West Florida Shelf. This is why Central West Florida, Tampa Bay is so great. We have this nice big shelf, expansive area, and that's why it takes so long to get out there to deep water. So I believe these are current fathoms. No, these are depths. So 1,000 foot. So if you go up here to like Destin, it gets really deep really fast. But if you go out of Central West Florida and try to go west, you got to go a long way to get out there to 200 foot, 250, 300 foot. You got to go 100, 110 miles to get deep dropping. Whereas on the southeast coast, off of like Miami, off of Jupiter, you go not very far and you're in very, very deep water. 8, 9, 10 miles off of Jupiter, you're in 1,200 foot. So they have less area for bottom fish. They don't have the hogfish. They don't have expansive areas of gag grouper. They don't have a ton of red snapper. They don't have all those bottom fish that we enjoy, yellowtails, muttons, all the expansive numbers of bottom reef species, but they have better pelagic species. You can go out and catch dolphin, wahoo, kingfish, tuna a lot quicker because you're in deeper water faster, whereas in our area we have more expansive areas, so those pelagic fish spread out. It's a little bit more difficult to target some of those pelagic fish. We don't get the big billfish as much or as concentrated, but we have more bottom fish. So it's kind of the trade-off, but also that big West Florida shelf is like a shallow beach area, right? And as you move shallower onto the beach, a little less current, a little less wave action, we're kind of protected from those bigger waves. Like East Coast of Florida gets a bigger wave. That's why surfing's better on the East Coast, because it gets deeper faster. Those waves can get closer to shore with more energy. Whereas in the West Coast, we have that big West Florida shelf. It gets deep really, really slowly. It kind of breaks down some of that wave energy. So even when a hurricane comes into the Gulf, even when a Category 5 hurricane goes ripping by us, we might see 15, maybe 20-foot seas, whereas on the East Coast, 10 miles, 12 miles off the coast, they can get 40-foot seas because it's 1,200 foot deep. So it's very, very different, and it's kind of an area and reason why our area, Central West Florida, is known and so widely sought after for bottom fishing. Grouper, snapper, people travel from all over the country and even the world to fish here in Central West Florida out of Tampa Bay because of our expansive grouper and snapper and hogfish and those other species. Did you know over 75% of the commercially caught red grouper in the Gulf of Mexico are landed through Johns Pass? Florida is representing 66% of the red snapper landings in the Gulf of Mexico. We catch more than half, almost 3/4 of the red snapper quota in the Gulf of Mexico for recreational fishermen. And we catch nearly 95% of the Gulf of Mexico's gag grouper catch. We catch nearly 100% of the yellowtail snapper in the Gulf of Mexico and Florida. We catch almost all of the hogfish. I mean, a lot of the species in the Gulf of Mexico, you can only catch them in Florida. That's why we're the best. All right, so got real far down a rabbit hole. Let's get back to some questions here. What time will you be at Barfly on the 5th? So Barfly in Safety Harbor, the Real Animals happy hour with the brand new Real Animals Catch beer from Coppertail Brewing is going to be from 4 to 7 p.m. 4 to 7 p.m. August 5th. All right, what other questions do we have? In need of a budget-minded slow pitch rod for jigs around 100 to 200 grams. Do you know anything like that or have anything like that in the shop? We have the Mustad slow pitch rods, probably going to be your best value. We carry a lot of the Temple Reef rods, which are anywhere from $250 to $350. We have the Noblas, which are like $450, $500. And then we have those Mustad slow pitch rods, which are going to be your best value. I believe they're around like 150-ish, 180-ish. We do have some like 220-ish. Just remember, your rod should be your biggest investment. You should be spending $50 or $100 more on your rod compared to your reel. So if you're going to be fishing with a $300 slow pitch reel, should really be buying a $350, $400 rod. We talked a lot about that, again, Saturday on the show with Luke. Really good radio show. I don't know if I've mentioned that before, but it's pretty awesome. A lot of knowledge there, so might want to pop on in and check it out. All right, what other questions do we have? Oh my gosh, we're already running out of time. We should probably give away another trip. Man, time flew by tonight. Let's see here. We're going to give away our 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. Lucky winner is Jessica Herring from Tampa. Congratulations, Jessica. That is a 10-hour all-day trip for 2. Make sure you claim it by texting us your full home address to the phone number at the bottom of the screen. Want to give a shout out to our buddy Richard Blazak for sending some stars, Chantel Castile, Scott Flynn, Billy and Cherie, and then we had Tim Dykes with the big 600 stars. Appreciate you, Tim. And then Richard Moore and his better half with a big 1,000 stars. Appreciate you, Richard. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Thanks for tuning in. All right, let's get into one more question or two before we pop off out of here and do our supporters after show. For those in our supporters group, don't forget the after show will start shortly. We'll announce that soon as well. Good evening, Captain Hubbard. How important is the current, and which direction and strength is ideal for offshore fishing? Current is not something we pay a lot of attention to in Central West Florida because we don't deal with it a lot. It's somewhat rare where current comes in and becomes a challenge, and it's mostly during red snapper season when we're fishing a lot deeper, a lot more frequently. Remember, for red snapper season, we're fishing closer to 200 foot or beyond 200 foot a little bit more frequently compared to outside of red snapper season. So when we're fishing deeper to 200 foot, current becomes a little bit more of a challenge. And then direction, not so important. It's more so important as to where our anchor heading is. So sometimes if the current's running north and south, but we have a stronger wind out of the west, then that's going to be dictating our anchor heading more and thus making us choose different spots for that reason. So really our anchor heading is what we're paying most of the attention to. And then current is a secondary thing because if you got a really strong west wind, it might be prevailing the current. So you got a north wind, or a north current coming out of the north. You've got a west wind. So your anchor heading might be somewhere to the northwest. And that means you get anchored up and you drop a line out of the stern of your boat, my elbow. And which way is that going to go? It's going to go down with the current because the wind's not going to affect that bait going to bottom. It's the current. So then in your mind's eye as a captain, you want to make sure that boat is just north of your fishing spot. So all your lines being dropped down are going to run to just north of the fishing spot because all your lines being dropped down are going to run south towards your fishing spot in the direction of the current, down current. Those fish are generally going to have their faces into the current, hiding behind the structure and behind the lee of the structure. So it comes into play as you're anchoring up and choosing your fishing spots a little bit, but mostly your anchor heading is going to be what dictates that even more so. Nick Nieves, appreciate those 1,200 stars, my brother. Thank you very much. All right, so 12-hour extreme on the Flying Hub 2. Is there bench seating along the rails? If not, can I bring a bucket to sit on? There is no bench seating, and no, you can't bring anything to sit on generally on the 12-hour extreme trip. You're going to be standing to fish. Really, all of our trips, you want to stand to fish, especially our long-range specialty trips. They're really meant for advanced anglers. You really got to be able to stand up and move around because the crew has to move around you. We hook a big fish. We got to run up and down the deck with gaff hooks. It can get a little bit chaotic, so you definitely want to be standing to fish on those long-range specialty trips. Now, if you can't stand to fish, you have something going on, we can always chat about that privately. Give me a call, and we can try to work something out to accommodate that. But generally, no, you cannot sit down and fish on long-range specialty trips meant for advanced anglers. We really need everybody standing up because my saying is you can't sit on your crapper and catch a snapper. It's really important that you're actively fishing. We talk about that a lot in our seminars at Bass Pro. You really got to be paying attention. You got to be dancing with the boat, keeping that rod tip tight enough to feel the lead, but not tight enough to disturb the lead on the bottom is really, really, really important. And Lewis Lambert just stole my next saying, you can't catch a grouper sitting on your pooper, is definitely the other saying that we use as well. You really got to be up on your feet, dancing with the boat, and actively fishing in order to feel the bite, catch the fish. And another reason why you need a really good rod, right? And the reason a rod is important is the more money you invest in the rod means the better you're going to be able to feel the bite, feel the bait, feel the fish, and know what's going on down there on the bottom. All right, so do y'all still do birthday trips? Yep. Right there on our website under info, you can find the free birthday trip. So if it's a 5 or 10 hour trip, it's free. If it's longer than a 10-hour trip, you can get up to the 10-hour cost off of it. A lot of people have sent in questions about the whole weight loss thing. Apparently, a lot of people are interested in the whole weight loss deal. So we wrote a quick blog post, CaptainDylanHubbard.com. If you haven't checked it out, there is a website called CaptainDylanHubbard.com. And we just posted a brand new blog about what did you name it? A personal journey to health, happiness, and weight loss. So a little story there and a little bit of a slider to see the difference over the last 9 months. Yeah, I started in November, and I've lost pretty close to about 100 pounds, but really I would say officially like 85, 90 pounds. It's been a lot. Big difference, and feeling good, feeling healthy. If you want to read more about that, again, CaptainDylanHubbard.com for that question. It makes me feel awkward to talk about. My face is a little red, but people have been asking a lot, so we wanted to make sure we answered that question. I think that's everything. Did we get it? Josh? We got it? All right. So we've definitely ripped through a lot of questions tonight. Don't forget to check out our new 3-hour Shell Key Shellin' trip. It's a brand new option, really starting to pick up some momentum, so check it out. We leave at 10 a.m. from Hubbard's Marina. You get about an hour ride down through our back-protected bay waters, see some dolphins, see some of the area. Then you get an hour at the island, and then an hour ride back along our beautiful beaches, see the Gulf, beautiful, and you'll get a seashell souvenir. Pick out a seashell on the island, and our crew will turn it into a necklace for you on the ride back. The Seashell King and his fellow workers will help you out with that. So come out and check out our Shell Key Ferry, our Egmont Key Ferry, our 3-hour Shell Key Shellin' trip for an option to meet the Seashell King and the Seashell Queens out there to get your seashell souvenirs. We're going to have some videos coming out about that and some more explanations because it's interesting what's going on our Shellin' trip. So you definitely want to check it out. It's pretty cool. The 3-hour Shell Key Shellin' trip is an awesome opportunity to get out there. Again, it leaves from Hubbard's Marina, returns at 1 o'clock. So you have plenty of time to enjoy your $7 all-day parking. Cheapest parking inside Johns Pass is when you go on a trip with us at Hubbard's Marina. Also, we're the #1 fishing charter in the country. Thank you all for making that possible. Number one, come to find out why we're the #1 fishing charter in the country. Take a trip with us. If you have your own boat, you like fishing with another charter boat, that's fine too. Use our website as a resource. Lots of videos, lots of weather links, lots of fishing regulations, information. Also, the Captain Dylan Hubbard website has a lot of blog posts and interesting information too. Check it out as well. And don't forget to follow us on TikTok. We're really working hard to try to build up our TikTok page, and we could use your help as well. Check out the Captain Dylan Hubbard pages on Instagram and Facebook. We're trying to build those up too. With that, I think that was all. Oh, we've got some light loads coming up. 12-hour extreme trip, 39-hour trips towards the end of July. Red Grouper closes July 20th at the end of the day, but the end of July, we have lots of opportunities, light loads for red snapper. Then August 1st rolls around, amberjack opens, triggerfish opens. Really almost the whole month of August are lighter loads. You're going to be able to catch triggerfish, amberjack, red snapper, scamp grouper, mangrove snapper, tons of species that are open. The only thing closed in August is going to be those red grouper essentially, and everything else in gag grouper is as well. So red grouper, gag grouper are closed. Everything else is open. The month of August is really a good opportunity to go fishing, yet we have some really light loads. So definitely take advantage of that. We have one 39-hour trip in August. I think it's Sunday, August 13th off the top of my head, somewhere in there. One of those Sundays in August is 7 people. 7 people is booked on a 39-hour. So extremely light load trips and great opportunities to capitalize on those red snapper, triggerfish, and much, 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 much more. So hopefully we'll see you out there on the water for some fishing fun. And if you're in our supporters group, the supporters after show is going to kick off at 8:50. So make sure you join us for our supporters after show. Remember, it's only $4.99 a month. You get private access to our private supporters group. If you're thinking about becoming a Salt Strong member, check out saltstrong.com/Hubbard. That's going to be your cheapest way to get into Salt Strong. Plus, you're going to get all the courses that we filmed with Salt Strong absolutely free, included with your membership. So, again, that's saltstrong.com/Hubbard for that special deal. You'll get the Grouper Mastery, the Red Snapper Mastery, and the Mangrove Snappery Mastery course, plus a year in Salt Strong. All buy one, get 4 free, basically. Buy one, get 3 free. So check it out, saltstrong.com/Hubbard. Check out our supporters after show and our supporters group. Become a supporter today. Appreciate all the stars senders. We had Tim McCardle send us some stars there last minute. We appreciate you, my brother. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the show tonight. Hopefully we see you next week. Remember, every Sunday night right here, 7:30 p.m. Tell your friends. Bring us one friend every week. Tonight, we were north of 300 live viewers on Facebook and YouTube. We also had Trovo, Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram going, so I'm confident we were well over 500 again tonight. So lots of live viewers. We appreciate you all for making it possible. Hopefully we'll see you again next week for another episode. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Come find out why we're the #1 fishing charter in the country, and let's see who won that 39-hour fishing trip for one lucky winner. Can only be one. One lucky winner, Sean Gossier. What's up, man? Brothers are winning. That's pretty cool. Brotherly love there. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Thanks for hanging out, and hopefully we'll see you on the water soon. Thanks for watching.